Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of our earnings call here with Variable Traders. We are going to be talking, we're really right at the end of this earnings season. We thought we would join you for one last time as we do some earnings here on a couple of companies that we honestly don't know how they're going to play after hours. We're hoping they give some opportunity, but they may not. We're going to focus on three, I think, here today, and we'll see how they do. Okay, and we'll look at them together. Intuit, Ross Stores, and Weeble Corporation. I still haven't watched that. Wasn't that Weeble? Didn't they do a documentary something on that? Anyways,
I don't know. Possibly.
No. Anyways, let's start with Intuit. Intuit Inc., which has been around for a very long time, and they are, what's interesting about a couple of these is that Intuit, Ross and Ross Stores, actually, let me just check very quickly on Weeble. All of the first two, Ross Stores and Intuit, are very heavily institutionally owned. 87% for Intuit, 90% for Ross Stores. And just to give you an idea, like Nvidia is only about 68% owned by institutions. And what that means is that they tend to not trade as actively because institutional ownership tends to be longer term. If you're buying something as part of a large institutional order, for instance, putting it into an ETF or putting it into a mutual fund, you're not usually trading your shares all that often. So it means that they tend to create more stability. They have less movement. It also gets lower short floats, and people tend to be buy and hold type sentimentality. So we'll see how that plays out on Intuit. Intuit today is looking for, what are the numbers looking like? We want to see about $3.76 billion worth of revenue and $3.09 of earnings on Intuit. And this is a stock that typically gets about 1.6 million shares per day traded. So and we're actually sitting under that so far today. So a little bit lower volume coming into it, which I'm hoping will translate to everybody's waiting until after the earnings come to take their opportunity to trade this thing. I don't know if that's really going to play out, but I've got my fingers and toes crossed on that hope because I want to have some fun. Let's see if we can have some fun after hours. All that being said, maybe Mike, you usually know a little bit what's going on with these companies. Why don't you share the chart and what you think is going to drive it?
Absolutely. So Intuit, they were feeling very, very left out by all the other technology companies that did deals and partnerships with OpenAI. So guess what they ended up doing? They ended up announcing that we're going to integrate ChatGPT into TurboTax and QuickBooks. So they wanted to get in on it. They came up with a partnership. That was one of their big major news headlines. As you talked about, it's heavily institutionally owned. Interesting enough, those institutions have increased their stakes ahead of this earnings. So they are betting that the investments in AI, as well as kind of this embracement of AI into TurboTax and QuickBooks, can actually produce some growth out of it. And that is what they're looking for. They're looking for performance versus what the expectations are. They want to see you at least meet, if not exceed, the expectations. If you come in as a miss, this could be a bad day for Intuit. They want to see progress in the AI sector and show us how you're monetizing it, right? Give us your guidance. Tell us how it's impacting your margins. And with the money that you're investing, what are your returns on it? And if those don't look good, if those don't look like they want them, they're probably going to be looking to the downside on this, right? And as we look at this chart, you can kind of tell, oh, sorry. I was looking at Weeble last and you had to like zoom in on their chart. You'll see what I mean when we get to Weeble. But this is the year chart on Intuit. You can see that they are really range bound now. And I highlighted the last earnings because it really shows you the top and bottom ranges of this range that's in the day that they announced earnings. You can kind of see the resistance up there near the top of that. And then you see the bottom of the next day where it sold off to before kind of recovering. And that is the point that we're at right now. So if we lose this 641, miss on expectations, don't give investors what they want, this could be a definite stock that can see some downside because there's not very much support anywhere below that 641. Even if you're looking to the left, we're really near the open of the year, right? And it sold off from there. It could be a bloodbath. I'm telling you, I mean, this may not be one of those good things, but this one could be a bloodbath. Uh, Talked about the last earnings gap down, but it was able to supply the floor for the support. And as far as trading it, only when it's good. And today, for earnings, there's a slim chance that it could be good after hours, but it could be well in our wheelhouse for trading tomorrow intraday if we lose some key support levels. Jared, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mike. I gotta say, I really enjoy Mike's view of the market now that he's so focused on those key prices, because it really showcases like we're looking at the right areas for analysis these days.
I'm
And
learning.
it's important. Our sentiment is always driven by like key areas, so a lot of times we can miss that big picture if we don't have them identified. So, as Mike mentioned, we're a very sideways trading stock. Prices right now are still very in flux. We're kind of looking at a stock that's capable of moving about $5 every 30 minutes or so. So there's a good chance we might push up a little, and a 650 close would kind of shift our expected move slightly. But right now, trading at about 645 and using, unfortunately, a very light option chain, we're expecting about $40 of movement out of INTU. So, plus or minus 40 for a stock trading at 645. We're kind of hitting maybe 7, almost 8% at the top end. And that type of volatility, based on what Mike was suggesting, are key areas to focus on for the earnings. Kind of makes sense. It's a hyper volatile name relative to what's expected from the market. There's not a lot of option trade, unfortunately, to focus on as far as key prices. A lot of trade will sort of aggregate towards psychological 700, and I do see some call open interest there, but I'm actually kind of more focused on the volume today. And even though it is light, about 455 transactions at 690. So I'm going to kind of keep that in mind. 690 and 700, clear resistance, some downside trade at 630, more open interest based. And as far as volume today, you can tell it's kind of scattered all the way down to 600 and 590 at its lowest. So not really a key stock for open interest analysis, but I am looking at the bigger numbers to try and get a sense of the larger participants. And when you draw the expected move on the chart relative to a closing price of 45, you'd be looking for an upper move of about 685. That'll get you $40 higher. A lower move to about 605. So it's not quite those psychological prices, nor is it even getting to where the option open interest is. Yet INTU could have a breach or just kind of reach a little bit further than what the expected suggests and then come right back inside. So I'm still going to keep those bigger numbers in mind. And as you can see, we're also kind of teetering on like We almost need to break out of this range to get any significant movement. We are pushing to the downside, but if we do come down and push back up, I still would want to keep these 700 levels in mind, just in case there is sort of like a flush and then a return. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty much a flat stock this year. I mean, teetering on the open, and as Mike suggested, we fell off quite heavily last earnings, so a lot of proving to do on the technicals for the bulls. All right, back to y'all.
Okay. So that's target number one. Number two, Ross stores. Ross stores, dress for less. I don't have any Ross stores here in Canada, so I'm not familiar with them, but I went to the website and I found their motto, slogan, their mantra, whatever it is. Anyways, and they seem to be like, I guess they're a clothing retailer, right? I don't actually know much
Yes.
about these guys.
So
But they are also, like I mentioned, heavily institutionally owned, and one that trades well about the same as what we were talking about, about little over 2.4 million shares per day, so a little more volume today. They're hitting about average. Actually, I was looking at it a little earlier. Not that bad in terms of their price movement and momentum. So maybe I'm not sure. Retail doesn't typically give us the same type of enthusiasm and excitement as does tech stocks, but we've seen a lot of retail recently, and there's been a lot of difference of opinions, right? Like we saw what am I trying to say? Target that didn't have a very positive outlook on the Christmas season and what to expect, whereas Walmart actually came out and said that they were increasing their guidance and thinking that they were going to have more opportunity. So it'll be interesting to see what Ross Stores says, and based on that outcome, we could see directional movement as a result. The expectation here for them, ROST, by the way, is the ticker if you guys are trying to look it up. They're
roast.
expected to deliver $5.4 billion worth of revenue in this quarter and a buck 40 in bottom line earnings. So it's all going to hinge around their tale about what's going to happen over the Christmas season. When you retail at this time of year, that's all people care about, right? From basically Black Friday all the way through to Christmas, that's all people care about. What do you think is going to happen? How big are the sales going to be? And the only correct answer is significantly higher than last year. So, Mike, do you think they're going to be able to say that?
No, it's going to be interesting. Out of all the earnings we've done, this is I think the second one that actually paid out a quarterly dividend. So that's interesting to know, right? Like, hey, here's an actual company that we're looking at and that people are getting paid to own the thing, right? Not typically what we look at with the tech sector. Like Peter talked about, heavily institutionally owned prime cap management is one of the big institutions that own a significant stake in Ross, and they again increase their holdings to approximately 1.3 billion. Interesting though is everybody's a little worried about the consumer right now. We know prices are high. We know tariffs are impacting. Where are the consumers going to spend that little bit of money that they do want to spend for Christmas out there? Unlike Peter, my wife loves Ross. She loves to go and find a bargain at Ross. And you can find not just clothing, but suitcases, jewelry, watches, sunglasses, candy. I mean, it's like a mini, I don't know what you can call it, like
Like
mini
It's
an old
it's an it's
Sears?
an everything store.
Yeah.
I found what's it called
It's,
where you dip the cheese in it and
yeah,
the
fondue
fondue.
pot.
I found
Fondue
that
set?
there.
Yeah, they
So,
We
got
so
have
it's
lots
cheesy.
basically
of
it's like a Walmart or a
Yes,
Target.
but very, very small
yeah, a
compared to
little
Walmart.
different. A little
Okay.
different.
So, but when you walk in, you get a goodwill feeling to it. Like when
Oh,
I walk in there, I feel like I'm walking into a Goodwill, just
oh,
higher echelon. That's
okay.
what's weird about it with how they put their clothes in on the racks. And there's no like real aisles, and it's just clothes everywhere from people trying them. It's crazy. But anyways, back to the important stuff, the stuff we care about, right? Um, what they're looking for, again, they want performance over expectations. Isn't that everybody every earnings season? But I think there's more focus on this time with Ross. They want to know what are the trends with the same stores from last quarter. They want to see it generally increasing, and again, they want to hear what Ross's take is on consumers. Are they still spending? Are you seeing increased spending? Because, like Peter said, their slogan is dress for less. So, are they pulling people away from Target that maybe no longer want to spend a little bit elevated price? Are they able to pull from Walmart where people are looking for a deal? I think
Right.
that's what investors are looking for.
Sounds like they
Um,
compete with Giant Tiger maybe more than
yeah, giant tiger. If we look at their daily chart, they're actually up on the year and they are up from last earnings. That's actually pretty significant if you can recall all the earnings that we've been watching. I would say the majority of the companies that we've done on this show have either been at or below previous earnings reports. So they have performed well since the last earnings. You can see I highlighted where their earnings were previously, and it's down. They gap sold off on the day going into it, then they gap down, but then they kind of recovered most of it after the sell off. Again, we only trade this when there's a catalyst. Today could be a catalyst. You can see the support levels at the year to date high of 165.07 and really the support level. Did I just say support? I meant resistance. If I said support, then I meant resistance. Support level is at 157.68, which is roughly right if you look at the beginning of the year, kind of where the stock maxed out in January before the big sell-off. So it could be an interesting level if we see a dip on this stock. So what's the expected moves look like, Jared?
Yeah, so for this one, we are expecting about $10 of movement, pretty much right on the money. Trading somewhere around 161 right now. That could obviously change into the close. And I went ahead and marked as if it were trading at 162, which it was about 30 minutes ago. So, plus or minus 10, whatever the closing price is, should be easy to calculate. We're kind of looking around 152 downside, 172 upside. Now, similar to INTU, the option trade is a little light on ROST. It's also got 2.5 wide strikes. So once again, be thinking about how this stock can move through significant price ranges. And instead of thinking dollar to dollar, you want to be thinking maybe 2.5 to $5 jumps at times. Not a lot of trade concentrated on either side of the option market. A little bit heavy on the put volume today as far as statistics are concerned. We just have an elevated open interest and demand for contracts today, but I will say the puts look a little elevated because they're comparable to the calls that transacted today. The only other thing really to mention, as Mike mentioned, we're above year-to-date high. Pretty classic to call that, relatively strong just because not everybody is. And a weekly high that was set last year, kind of our major resistance, we're also teetering on that. So not only is it year-to-date breakout high, but the last highs made last year are also on deck. And I think a combination of if we can clear both of these, I do kind of expect a move to the upper expected move, even if the journey's a little spready. So just kind of keep that in mind. The only thing I'll say to compare this to, we were talking about like Target and Walmart. We also did TJ Maxx. So TJX was the ticker, and TJ or the TJX company, which owns TJ Maxx, I believe it also owns Marshalls. Kind of a comparable business model and department chain. And if you look at their earnings, they did gap up, sold off on the session, but are holding some of those gains as of today. And kind of honestly, with what we saw today, this stock is holding up performance. So, thinking about what sectors and groups of stocks are being rotated into, even amidst earnings volatility. So, something to consider as like a sympathy play for Ross. All right, back to y'all.
Okay, and that brings us to our third and final target for today, which is Weeble. Weeble, maybe this is more out of interest. It is actually the heaviest traded stock with about 17 million shares on average per day. And today they're trading over that, about 24 million traded today. So it does seem active. That's good news. Weeble is an actual trading platform that call themselves a fintech company. Remember the old term fintech? Fintech? Not a lot of companies seem to use that nowadays. But anyways, that was a big thing a few years ago, but they're still sticking to it. They more or less run a trading platform. That's what I know them for in any event. And they are this earnings season looking to deliver about let's see here, 133 million of revenue, 133.03 to be specific in the quarter, and 3 cents in terms of earnings. So barely green on the quarter. Weeble has been interestingly flat for pretty much all of this year, but it's hard to tell. Something weird happened earlier this year. I didn't actually, Mike, you might know more about this. You could talk about it. In April, something happened. Oh my goodness. And then Weeble sort of just decided to go flat. It's now sitting sub $10 at about $8.30 as we speak right now. And so there's lots of room to the top side, and it looks like, well, there's about $8.30 worth of room to the downside. So take that for what you will. We'll see what the actual move is. Don't take what I just said seriously. Anyways, Mike, what are we looking at?
Yes, Weeble. So the huge spike, that was them going public. So they actually were not traded at the beginning of the year. April, they went public as a trading platform. I think there was a lot of hype. One, they're in the crypto sector. Two, they're a competitor to Robinhood as a trading platform. So I think a lot of people were doing a lot of speculation. And as you can see, you didn't want to be up in the 80s and buying this stock. You wanted to be the seller at the 80s. I know one of our moderators was actively trading this, John Hiltzy. He was trading this a lot on this move up, so he was enjoying that. But like I said, remember when I was talking about Intuit, I said, ooh, I got to zoom out. You can see that you can't really see anything with this chart unless you actually zoom in on the chart and you can kind of see a trading range a little bit with it. I highlighted the earnings. They actually gapped up after earnings, but then sold off heavily the next day. So interesting. Then they pushed up and have continued to sell off from that. The bottom of the range is, I mean, support has to be the low it's ever been, which is at 797. There's your low. I mean, if it loses that, free fall to zero. you know, you only got so much to go down. But on the top side, I'd mark $10. I don't know if that's even really relevant, but it seems that stocks that are below $10 really like that $10 level. And it's going to attract there, like that's gonna stock price is gonna gravitate to it. But then once it gets there, it may struggle to remain above it, and that's what we have to kind of look at that resistance level. As far as news on Webull, it does have an elevated short interest, believe it or not. So there's a lot of people betting against this company. We'll see what's going on there. They are re-entering the crypto market. Re-entering the crypto market. So they got in, got out, going back in. They're adding speculative interest betting or gambling or maybe that's the wrong terminology. It's gambling, but it's trading all in one. when you're betting on
All these
on it.
platforms are doing that now, aren't they? Where they have like you can bet on the outcome of events. Like just trade it if that's what you want. But anyways, but there's all sorts of crazy. Yeah, they're really confusing or merging the betting versus gamification versus actual trading
Yeah.
aspects of
And
markets these
and they
days.
do it very well on these wonderful devices that we
Yeah,
have here that we're just so dopamine attracted to. Like, oh, yeah, it's so much
indeed.
easier to just press the button. It can't be real money, but it really is. So what are they watching for? They want them to meet expectations. This is kind of like if you don't meet it, you're missing it. So you better put up some numbers. They want to know how the growth is going, how they're monetizing the trading activity that they're getting as far as new clients with new accounts. Are they fully funding the account? How are you turning those accounts into actual revenue that you can can benefit off of? Also, with them being invested in the crypto market, and as we know, the crypto market has kind of come down from its highs. They want to know, hey, how are you surviving with that investment? Is it going good? Is it not going good? We'll see. When as far as trading in the community, uh, we traded it a lot when it went public. Not so much recently. So we'll see if there's a catalyst. Wouldn't surprise me if we get some good price action that people in the community won't be watching it tomorrow. So I will turn it over to you, Jared.
All right. Yeah, so short and sweet. I think this one we're looking at about $1 of expected movement. Ironically, that's the most volatile stock we have. It's an $8.30 stock, so a dollar is about 12, 13% total volatility. Ironically, quite a bit of call interest today. Not only are calls kind of stacking at the $10 psychological, but just in general, the stock is traded above average call volume into earnings. There's also a lot of open interest at 15. That is nowhere near the expected move, but just in case, know about that because we've seen crazier stuff. So with a $1 expected move, we're looking at upper target 9.5. Probably looking at 10 psychological too if we're pushing that way. And then to the downside, about 7.1. Funny story is 0 is a little bit lower. So that is possible too. There are some notes too about the expected. It's not the IPO price, it was a SPAC, if I recall correctly. So this
Oh
stock,
yeah, SPAC.
yeah, whatever it was listed at before, it might have even had a similar ticker name. It was a SPAC before, and then on April 10th and 11th, I think is when they offered it to the open market as bull. So those are just some interesting key levels. They're basically just putting the stock at the lowest lows ever. So obviously, any relief at this point, we'll just have to be careful for people who are underwater, any selling pressure. So that's it. We are 1 minute away. So we did it.
I know we
Nailed
got
it.
through it.
Yeah. I get to change screens here. We're just
All
about
of you.
on deck here.
Yeah, all of these come right out at 4 o'clock. So hopefully we'll see some quick action or quick nothing. Intuit is dropping right now into the close.
I think everything's
And
I'm
dropping
going to
into
do
the
a quick
close.
change of
yeah,
screen for
yeah,
you,
the market is.
Carlos.
I should have got back into Nvidia. I did take a trade while we were talking here on Nvidia, my 1 to 10 trade. I did. It was very quick. It all lasted about a minute and a half, but I got an immediate 60 cent drop after I got into it. And then it just came back up
You
and
know
steady.
what trade I should have got back into today, Peter?
Apple.
Apple.
All right. Mike's going to
Apple.
be drinking doing that tonight. Apple. All right, there's the
Yes.
bell, everybody. We
I got
are
Benzinga on
done
through
for the
trading
day. Yeah.
terminal.
Let's see if we get some
INTU.
quick notification of earnings.
Intuit beat 3.9 billion.
Okay. Intuit beat. Well, so
Yep.
far the stock's not
Intuit
showing that.
beat,
Oh,
but
they're
selling
dropping.
off.
They are dropping.
Bull is pushing it up.
What's the expected move? 605. Okay.
Yeah, I mean we close kind of lower, so it's a 40 point expected move. We might adjust it to 600 and then
Mm,
680. Just it's all based on the closing print.
right. Well, it didn't get anywhere close. So,
We're still
yet.
still,
I mean, it's
still
still early.
working.
Oh, now it's up.
The 5 minute candle hasn't even printed. Now Rost is moving up as well.
So is Bull
Ross
Weeble.
reported $1.58.
Okay,
Beat on Ross,
nice.
5.6 billion. Beat on Ross. Wow, look at Ross.
I had a feeling that one was going to be a breakout stock. It's very strong. Like the way it's been setting up at all-time highs. That is a new all-time high for Ross.
Yep.
So see if they can go to 170 here.
Ross
Probably.
had Ross beat, Intuit beat. Have not heard anything on Bull though, but I'm
My God,
assuming.
the spread is $4 wide on Ross. So,
Yeah.
And Bull had 7 cents earnings per share, so it beat as well.
Hmm.
wow. Interesting. The spread on Weeble is about 6 cents. The spread on Intuit, $10. So keep
Yeah,
that in
these
mind. Now, admittedly, Ross, the stock price, sorry, on Intuit is $650 versus $8 for Webull, but
yeah. Those options are just they're very wide spaced and very low volume and open interest. So
There's
I
some
expect the
orders
equity to
on
be thin.
Bull up high. There's not much whatsoever for Ross or Intuit.
mm, yeah, a lot all over the
So
place here. It's
you
not
can kind of see here on Market Atlas, Bull seems to have orders.
Bull's the only one that's trading enough volume to make it worth
Yeah,
watching, frankly.
Ross has nothing and Intuit has nothing.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Yeah, Bull looks interesting. It's trying to move up here. I mean,
yeah,
I'm kind of thinking nine at a minimum, but you know, 10's not that far away, right?
I,
Getting over, we're
you can,
actually about to break the
yeah,
session high. Yeah, we're pushing
yeah.
some.
See if we can't get up near that 10.
Hmm. Relieve some, I guess, post-SPAC buyers.
Yeah.
Get them break even prices.
See if we can't get a short squeeze going.
It'll take more than this, that's for sure.
Not
So
during after hours. We gotta get.
yeah,
Let's see. Let's see what the online board's got going for tomorrow.
yeah.
It'll take a lot because the short float's only 5.5%. So
It's
they're
not heavily short stock.
yeah, they're not going
Just
to
no
be squeezed
buyers.
too much.
Yeah. I find this so typical too. These large
Yeah.
IPO price offerings. I mean, we've seen so many of them collapse over the past years, and they
There's
just
some orders on Weeble to the top. $8, kind of the bottom.
if we can hold like the pre-market ranges and get over session high, that usually can get the algos to start buying a little bit quicker. It's not in a bad
Yep.
spot. I mean, it could turn you.
I got the cleaners. Let me know if you all can hear any background noise.
Sounds fine so far.
So far, so
Okay.
good.
Just holler at me and I'll mute. I hear the vacuum cleaners going on in the hallway. At some point, the pest control is supposed to come here too to spray our floor.
Now, you mentioned
Spiders.
like in your building you're doing a Friendsgiving. I said my daughter
Yeah.
does that, but I thought it was like a young adult thing. Is that a big US thing where you do the Thanksgiving with friends? I
I've
never really
never
heard
heard
of
of
it.
it until I lived here.
Oh, okay.
I've done it maybe like more in college, like a younger
Yeah.
generational thing.
Right.
It's typically done when you're far away from family, which college would be a good use case
Yeah.
for. And it's just, you're in a situation where maybe even travel is difficult. So, you spend that time with those you're closest to. And the whole point is just to be grateful and thankful for whatever, is around you. So, and Friendsgiving is just a good name for it. So
Yeah.
here's to Friendsgiving.
If that
That
means I
is.
get turkey another time and more beer, I'm cool with it.
Exactly.
See,
Double
Whiskey.
dip. Double dip
I'll take
the
that.
servings.
I
I'm
like
fine.
the I like the holiday meal and well, my wife's like, I don't like turkey. I'm like, how do you not like turkey? Turkey's a nothing meat. It's all about gravy and
Yeah.
what you slather it with.
Mhm.
You gotta cook it right. If you get a dry turkey or somebody really overcooks the turkey, it can be pretty bad.
Well, that's true.
I will say though, deep fried turkeys are the best. Like they are the best turkeys I've ever had.
Wow. Look at the
It-
Weeble pull back here. It's
Look at
going all the way
this.
back down. Boy, maybe you should have shorted that one. That was
Uh, so
good
hard to
stuff.
borrow.
Yeah.
No
Oh, is it?
shorts. Yep.
Uh, I got it shortable. Hold on a sec.
You do?
Shortable. Yeah.
Mhm.
10 million shares available.
I got them
Oh,
too.
I don't. Why
Mhm.
don't I have them
Wah,
shortable?
wah, wah. Well, that's you changing platforms. Gotta look at that new platform. Maybe it doesn't have any shorts on
That is rude.
it.
Well, I have been having issues. I don't like to talk bad about people, but I am if if they didn't have such great commission structure, I definitely would not be continuing my services.
Mm.
I I just AI generated emails to me one time at midnight and 1 a.m. every day. Here, I'm going to send you an AI generated email at midnight so that you can respond in the morning and then wait until I respond again at midnight. Like,
Yeah.
and then when you call and you're like, hey, can I speak to the people that make this decision because your AI generated responses are useless and don't provide the information, which is why we've been going back and forth for a week. Oh, no, you're not allowed to talk to them. Oh, so they're super secret, protected people that are making the decisions. Got it. They're in the back office, protected from everybody, no phone lines.
Mike's angry.
Yes, I am. They got
All
top
right,
secret
guys.
information.
On that note, we've got Intuit doing nothing, no volume. Ross stores, no volume, really not moving either. So not tradable
Yeah,
opportunities. Bull is trading with volume. Made its
Mhm.
rise. It's right back to pretty much where we closed the market right now. And actually, it's at risk of going red now after the previous close. Did you said
Yeah.
they beat their numbers though, didn't they? On Weeble?
yes.
Yep.
So
They 7 cents.
yeah. So
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 clearly
why not
somebody's
candle go up?
they're not buying it.
I did take a long attempt on bull. It did reject the session high, and it's reversing completely. So I think I don't see like an imbalance on the level two. There's plenty of orders all over the place, but there's not like one-sided trading. So you're probably going to get a stock that doesn't move and
yeah.
potentially could reverse.
And
This
if you're
actually isn't bearish yet because it didn't break down, but coming back to where it originated from is not a good look either. So
it's not a
yeah,
good
more
look.
balanced.
if you're long and it goes below $8, you better get out of the way.
Yeah, like I mean we're living on like 30 cents of support at the moment. So very tentative area, but there is some buy pressure. I've seen kind of how the orders are getting filled here. The main thing is, can we actually clear something? And without a clear, it won't really imbalance itself. It's still stuck in a range.
Yeah. You don't want to be long if you're under 8, though.
No,
That's
no. I don't want to own bull.
no, definitely not.
The only reason to own a ticker as a trader is if I can sell it to someone at a higher price. That's trading 101. If I can give my cheap shares to someone at a higher price, I'm good. But
That's
yeah,
true of any stock, I suppose.
yeah, exactly. One of the fundamental truths of trading and even somewhat investing. If you can't get it at a good price, who are you going to sell it to?
Yep.
So that's why we're so price sensitive as traders. But yeah, the volume unfortunately is not even elevated enough to get that breakout going without. I mean, do we have like a conference call on Bull?
Not that I
Probably.
know of.
Yeah.
I mean, probably they usually host one, but I don't know. Depends on
Yeah.
whether they have any analysts that are interested to attend. So I don't know what's the analyst coverage on Weeble. Let's find out here. Yeah, analyst coverage is not so good on them. So probably no conference call, I'm guessing. Northland Capital and Rosenblatt seem to be the only two analyst firms, and they probably just tell them what's going on since they don't have a whole room full of them. So, all right, guys. Well, why don't we call it there? Thanks for joining us for this earnings season, and we will be back with you next. Thank you, Carlos, for coordinating things in the background. Mike and Jared, always, it's always a lot of fun. So, Mike, go enjoy your Friendsgiving. Have a drink for me.
I
Any
will.
any parting words for what is theoretically the last earnings call of the year?
Ooh.
Not really.
Not sure what wise words to say. I would say, no matter what the earnings say, follow the trend. Make sure that you're very well aware of what the trend is doing. Don't come in so opinionated that you're willing to ignore the technical signals. Earnings are great. I think we use them a lot because it helps us understand what that short-term, what the corporate, environment is around us. Doesn't mean the stock is going to match that corporate environment. It's affected by so many other things, and that's why I love, we don't use the F word very often here. Fundamentals. But earnings are about the fundamentals of a company, whereas on a day-to-day basis, we're more looking at the technical setup. So this is, earnings are the opportunity to sort of start to match the two up. So whatever you do, just trade smart. That's all we ask. We'll see you guys back here soon. We'll be back for the pre-market show tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll see you then.
Goodness, better than myself.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you all so much. Bye for now.